This is ABTV, Animal Bites Television. For animal lovers, by animal lovers.
Recently, the Humane Society of the United States posted a video about their stance on pet reptiles. And this is what it said. There is no reason to have a reptile as a pet, period. Today, I'm going to take a closer look at that statement. My name is Brian Barczyk. I'm no zoologist, just a guy with a passion for animals. And that passion often takes me on animal adventures around the world. This week, I'm at BHB Reptiles talking about reptiles as pets. You're watching Snake Bites. Recent studies have shown that there are more pet animals in American households than there are children. Now that's pretty surprising, but what are the benefits of having a pet animal? Enhance your mood. Researchers have shown that people that suffer from various diseases have a lesser chance of depression having a pet animal. Also, pet owners have been known to have lower blood pressure and lower heart rates. Our animals are a calming effect. An anecdote for loneliness. Let's face it, when we come home from work after a long day and there's no one around, the one thing we can always count on is our pets to be there for us. Lower stress. Keeping a pet animal reduces stress and anxiety. Longer life. That's right, believe it or not, researchers have shown that keeping pets aids to longer lives. Let's take a step back for a second and look at what animals' roles were throughout human history. Way back in prehistoric times, animals were really used for food, transportation, clothes, and every now and then certain cultures actually worshipped them. But it wasn't until about 14,000 years ago that we saw the first signs of them making the jump from a work animal to an actual pet. And that was back then when they realized that you could take a pup wolf and raise it around humans and it would actually be subordinate and you could actually train it. Recently, a 12,000-year-old Paleolithic tomb was unearthed in northern Israel. There, a human was buried with a little dog or a wolf pup on its shoulder to express the affection they had for one another during life. Of course, it was the ancient Egyptians that domesticated cats. Prior to that, they were considered wild and exotic cats. There's actually been Egyptian tombs unearthed that have had primates, lizards, and even fish and other animals that obviously were kept as pets. In the 1800s, birds were the most commonly kept household pet in America. Later in the century, fish gained popularity. In 1870, the first story of a pet reptile emerged in the papers when a famous actress's pet tortoise perished in a fire. Take a look at this beauty right here. Isn't that thing cool? That's right, in the 1970s, the explosion of the pet rock hit with a fury. So in the 1970s, believe it or not, people were buying rocks just like this. That's how much we need pets. So much so that people were spending $10 on a rock. In the 1980s, the reptile fad started to really explode, and the popularity of the movie, The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, meant that every kid in the country needed to get one of these guys. Now, unfortunately, that's not always a good thing because a lot of those turtles really weren't getting the proper care, but it was the start of something big. Captive breeding of reptiles and the knowledge of how to keep them really helped continue to rocket the popularity of reptiles through the 1990s and early 2000s. Advantages of keeping reptiles as pets. Fast-paced lives. As our schedules get more and more hectic, a lot of times we're away from the house a lot more often. And when you have a dog, you definitely need to make sure that it's cared for. Most people aren't like us and able to bring their dogs to work. So you have to make sure that they have food, water, someone comes by to walk them. Not to mention, if you're going out of town, you have to find a dog sitter. The beautiful things about most reptiles, in particular snakes, is that if you go away for 6 or 7 days, just put some fresh water in there and they're all set. Feed them before you go and they're gonna be fine when you get back. Most reptiles are so much less work than the majority of mammal pets. Hypoallergenic. Speaking from experience, I've been an animal lover my entire life, but my brother was so allergic to pet dander and fur, we were never allowed to have a household pet when I was a kid. So reptiles are a great option because if you are allergic to any of the stuff that mammals bring, reptiles are completely void of any dander or fur, which makes them a great option if you have bad allergies. An appreciation for wildlife. Keeping reptiles certainly gives you an appreciation for wildlife. It's an opportunity to spend time with such majestic animals and really get to understand what wildlife is all about. Aid in the understanding for the need of conservation. Keeping reptiles can do amazing things when it comes to understanding conservation of animals. There's no better example than the crested gecko, this little monkey here, which is absolutely gorgeous. Believe it or not, where these guys are found, which is in New Caledonia, they're all but extinct in the wild. Think about that. This animal right here is pretty much non-existent in the wild, but because of captive breeding colonies, you can almost find crested geckos in every pet shop across the country. There are literally hundreds of thousands of crested geckos alive now because of captive breeding. That's pretty cool. Meeting new people. The reptile hobby is an amazing hobby when it comes to meeting new people. There's tremendous online communities that you can get involved in to meet people that have like-minded interests, let alone some amazing reptile convention where hundreds of thousands of people a year travel to see these amazing animals. You can actually meet people that are just as passionate about reptiles as you are. What gives these people the right to tell me that I shouldn't keep reptiles as pets, or you that you shouldn't keep reptiles as pets? These organizations like Humane Society of the United States have one agenda, and that's to take away all of your pets. Not just reptiles, but your dog and cats as well. I tell you what, you need to make sure that you and everyone you know realize what your donations to these organizations are doing. They're being used to outlaw all animals as pets, which is just unbelievable to me. These reptiles mean everything to me. They're my life, and they're the life of millions and millions of people around the world. There should never be a time where someone should tell you that you can't keep a pet reptile and that somehow they're not good. I tell you what, it just makes my blood boil when I hear things like that. We obviously have a lot of educating to do to people around the world to let people know how amazing these animals are. I hope you guys enjoyed the show and will share this video with other people so that other people realize how amazing reptiles are. And as always, please subscribe to this channel, and I'm always Facebooking and tweeting my way through it, so you can follow me over at SnakeBytesTV or on Instagram at SnakeBytes.tv. Until next week, from me and Sunshine, you've been watching Snake Bites.
Hi, I'm Peter Birch, an Aussie bloke who loves wildlife. My respect for nature started when I was a young boy in rural New South Wales. Since then, it's exploded into an obsession. New episodes only on AnimalBytesTV.